So this is our final official homework assignment, besides the practice midterm, besides the practice final. But this is just a short half page. I deleted several questions. It's just continuation of what we did yesterday, arithmetic sequences. So it says determine which sequence is arithmetic. If there's a common difference, then it's arithmetic. So I recommend getting a calculator and simply taking a number and then subtracting the previous number. I would start with this one. So if on the calculator you type in -3, take away 5, that's -8, right? So you're assuming that the common difference is -8, but you need to make sure that it works for all of them. So far, -3, take away 5, that's -8. But if I go -5, take away 13, what will that give us? Wait, I'm sorry, I said -5. +5, take away 13, it's also -8. So if we go 13, take away 21, it's also -8. So number one is yes, it is arithmetic. Why? So yes, why? Because D equals 8, because there's a common difference of 8. Number two, again, with the calculator, go ahead and start subtracting. Say 46, take away 29. 46 take away 29 on a calculator is 17. So far it looks like our D is 17, but we need to make sure that it's common in all terms. So if I go 29 take away 12 on the calculator, I get 17 also, so that's working pretty good. And then if I go 12 take away -5, 12 take away a -5, that becomes plus, and it's also 17. So there really is a common difference. So again, we would say yes, because there's a common difference of 17. A lot of people get confused with decimals or fractions. Again, the calculators do the work for you. All you have to do is check and see if there's a common difference. So if you type in 1.3 on a calculator minus the previous one, 0.1, you'll get the answer 1.2. So far it looks like our D is 1.2. Okay. Now I need to make sure that it's in common in all of its terms. So if I go 0.1 take away a -1.1, 0.1 take away a -1.1, that becomes plus, and I'll also end up with 1.2. So far it's working. If I try the next one, -1.1 minus a -1.2, -1.1 on the calculator minus a -2.2, we end up with a +1.1. So right here between these two, our difference is 1.1. So obviously there's not a common difference, they're different. So we would say no, it does not work. So no, it's not arithmetic. Why not? Because there's no common D. Let's move on to the next one. Again, same thing, you're going to be using a calculator. And if you start subtracting 3.0, take away 1.8, we end up with 1.2. But let's just make sure that it works on all of them. If I go 1.8, take away 0.6 on a calculator, we end up with 1.2 as well. But if I go 0.6, take away a -1.2, 0.6 on the calculator, take away a -1.2, we end up with 1.8. So that would be different. That messes it up. So again, this one's a no. No, it's not arithmetic, number 6. So I'll be honest with you, on the final exam, you're not going to have just yes or no. There's going to be more to it. They might ask you to find the next 3 terms of each arithmetic sequence, like on numbers 8, 9, 10, and 11. But more likely, they're going to ask you to write the a sub nth equation that produces the list. Okay? So let's just continue with this. Number 8, find the next 3 terms. If we know that a sub 1 is our first term, a sub 2 is our second term, a sub 3 is our third, a sub 4, if they want the next 3 terms, they're technically asking for a sub 5, a sub 6, and a sub 7. So those are going to be the next 3 numbers. In order for us to calculate the next 3 numbers, we need to find that common difference D. And what we should do is take a number and subtract the previous one. So on the calculator, if I go -7, take away a -21, that becomes -7 plus 21, which is 14. So the common difference is 14. That makes sense. If you're at really negative and you add 14 to it, that becomes negative 35. Add 14 to it, negative 21. Add 14 to it, negative 7. If you add 14 to it, you will get positive 7. So the fifth term is going to be positive 7. Why? Because negative 7 plus 14 is positive 7. And then 7 plus 14 again is 21. So the next term would be 21. And then 21 plus 14 is 35. So those are the next three terms. Pretty easy to do once you find that D value. Let's move on to number 9. Now a lot of people get confused with fractions. Again, you could let the calculator do the work. And it's pretty easy when you identify the number 0, because when you go 0, take away the previous, you have your common difference right there. The common difference is 0, take away any number, is that number but negative. So the common difference is negative 1/4. Okay? So again, if you want the, not the first, the second, the third, the fourth, we want the 5th through 7th terms. So a sub 5, a sub 6, a sub 7. So if our common difference is subtracting 1/4, negative 1/4, then from 0 to get to the next one, you'd have to subtract 1/4, and that would give you negative 1/4 as your next term. And then if you were to take negative 1/4 and subtract another 1/4, that would technically be negative 2/4. But negative 2/4 could be reduced to negative 1/2. Okay, so the 5th term is negative 1/4, the 6th term is negative 1/2, and the last one would be subtracting 1/4 again, which would give you negative 3/4. Okay. Anyhow, let's move on. I don't think there's fractions on the final, but we might as well go over it anyway. So number 10, let's find out the common difference. How do I do that? I pick a number and subtract the one before it. I don't have to make sure that it's common because I already know that they're arithmetic. They already tell us it's arithmetic. So all I have to do is find the common difference by subtracting 11, take away 4. And that's 7. So the common difference is 7. So we again want the 5th term, a sub 5, a sub 6, and a sub 7. So the 5th term, if I add 7, that'll be 18. And 18, if I add 7, will be 25. And 25, if I add 7, will be 32. Really easy to do. Now for the real important stuff, writing the equation. This is what you're going to see on the final next week. So this is what you really need to be able to do. They want you to write an equation. And we know that we have to have the formula that we have on the board memorized. The a sub nth rule for a for an arithmetic sequence. The formula goes a sub n equals a sub 1 plus parenthesis n minus 1 times a common difference d. And the only thing you're really going to be plugging in, the only two things that you're really going to be plugging in is your a sub 1 term and your d term. That's all you're plugging in. Everything else stays the same. Okay? So let's identify the a sub 1 term. A sub 1 is 9. So we're going to have a 9 right here. And your common difference, if you say 13, take away 9, that would be 4. So 13 take away 9 is 4. So the common difference really is 4. It doesn't matter which one you did. You could have gone 21 take away 17. You still get 4. Or 17 take away 13. You still get 4. But anyways, we identified the a sub 1. There it is. It's 9. Let's identify the d, which is 4. Let's plug it in. So we're going to have a 4 right here as well. And let's rewrite everything exactly the way it is. The plus sign, the parenthesis, the n minus 1, the equal sign. The a sub n is just the name. I'll bring that down at the end. But I still need to simplify this thing. So I'm going to distribute 4 times n, that's 4n. 4 times negative 1, that's negative 4. Bring down the plus, bring down the 9. Out of those 3 terms, I could combine the like terms, the number 9 with the number minus 4, or negative 4. 9 take away 4 is 5. So my final answer is going to have that 4n first and a positive 5 second. And let's not forget to bring down the equal sign. And the name of this guy is a sub n. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found the a sub nth rule that produces that list. And that's what you're going to be asked to do on the final. Now let's say you're not too sure about it and you want to double check that you got it right. Go ahead and plug in the number 1 to see if you get the first term. So if you plug in the number 1, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5, it really is 9. You feel pretty confident. If you want to feel more confident, go ahead and plug in the number 2 and see if you get the second term. Or plug in the number 3, see if you get the third term. Or plug in the number 4, see if you get the fourth term. For example, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 5 is 21, and 21 is the fourth term. So I know that I got the right function that produces this list. I know I have the right equation that produces that list. And it comes in handy in case they ask you for the 50th term, the 100th term, or any term they ask you for. If they did ask you for the 100th term, all you have to do is plug in 100, and the 100th number on this list would be 405, because 4 times 100 is 400, plus 5 is 405. Anyways, let's continue. Number 14 here. Once again, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus parenthesis n minus 1 times the common difference d. Our a sub 1 is negative 5, so you put the negative 5 right there. Our common difference, if you go 4, take away 1, that is 3. So the common difference is 3. So let's plug in a 3 where the d is at, and let's rewrite everything exactly the way it is. And now let's simplify. Let's distribute the 3. We're going to get 3n minus 3 with the plus with the minus 5. Combine like terms, the minus 5 with the minus 3. That's negative 8. But bring down the 3n in the front. So we have 3n minus 8. That's the function. The name of this function is a sub n. Just bring it down. This is what we're looking for on the final. And of course, if I asked you to find the 10th term, you could plug in 10 right there. That'd be 30 minus 8, that's 22. So the 10th number is the actual number 22. Let's go to the last one here, number 15. Again, the general rule we need to have memorized, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus parenthesis n minus 1 times the common difference d. The only two things you're plugging in are your a sub 1 and your d. Everything else stays the same. So plus n minus 1, everything else stays the same. The a sub 1 value is 19, so you put the 19 right there. The common difference, if you take 55 on a calculator, take away 43, you'll get 12. So the common difference is 12. D is 12. So let's plug in a 12 right there where the D is at. Those are the only two things you have to plug in. After that, all you have to do is simplify. So let's distribute 12 times n, that's 12n. 12 times 1, that's 1, but of course there's a minus sign. 12 times 1 is 12, but of course there's a minus sign in between them, and there's a plus 19 out here in the front. So for your final step after distributive property is combining like terms. 19 minus 12, that is 7. So we're going to have 12n plus 7, 12n plus 7 equals a sub n. A sub n equals 12n plus 7. If you wanted to double check that, you could plug in the number 1 right here. 12 times 1 is 12, plus 7, that's 19. So that verifies that if you plug in the number 1, you get your first term, 19. Or if you were to plug in the number 4, for example, 12 times 4 is 48. And 48 plus 7 is 55. And that's how you get that fourth term, 55. Now there is a word problem right here. I think it's worth doing. It says Juancho is stacking boxes of tissue at a store display. Each row of tissues has 2 fewer boxes than the row below. So the first row had 23. So technically what they're telling you right here, that the first row has 23, they're giving you your first term, 23. Now we know that the next one is 2 less than that, and the one after that's 2 less than that. So we know that the common difference is 2 less than, which means negative 2. So using our formula, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times the common difference d. You'd plug in a 23 right here, and then plus n minus 1 times that common difference of negative 2. Now, I would put a multiplication dot or parentheses so you don't make the mistake of thinking that it says minus 2. It's really a negative 2 that you have to multiply by when you distribute. So when you go negative 2 times n, you're going to get a negative 2n. Negative 2 times negative 1, you get a positive 2. And of course, the 23 comes down, And out of those three terms, you could combine the 23 plus 2, giving you a positive 25. Bring down the minus 2n right there, bring down the a sub n with the equal sign, and you have the equation that models this situation. So if they told you how many boxes will he have on the 10th row, well, you'd simply have to plug in 10 right here. Negative 2 times 10 is negative 20 plus 25. He'd have 5 boxes on the 10th row. Anyway, I know I explained everything really fast. I wanted to keep this video as short as possible. But if you know how to create these equations with this formula, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus parentheses n minus 1 times the common difference d, you are going to be able to get these questions right on the final. There's only like 2 or 3 of them, but that's like about 10% of your final exam grade. Good luck studying for the final.